All right, what's good, boys? So I'm gonna be doing a little something different for the pitter today. Before I put on the exhaust and start getting her tuned and everything, I wanted to do this before I do all that and get it out of the way. So as you could probably see here, we're gonna be doing a little coating, some high temp coating. As some of you have probably been riding for a little bit and had an exhaust for a while, you'll see that your exhaust freaking starts turning that super ugly brown. This one's like in the goldish stage right now. Haven't ridden very much with this exhaust on there, but see, wish this is out of titanium, then so it turn all nice and blue. Be dope, but it's not gonna. So yeah, so what I'm gonna be doing is hitting this up with some primer from VHT and then some flameproof. I used to use this stuff on my cars, at least like the muffler portion that would show on the back, just so that it wouldn't be super shiny and sticking out. You know, not be a cop magnet. But I figured I'd try it on this black. That coating would hold up pretty darn well too, considering that it was underneath the car, you know, getting banged up by rocks and everything. So I figure why not. We'll try it out on the pitter exhaust and see how it goes. Worst comes to worst, and you know, a quick little sandblast will remove everything. So yeah, why not? So what I'm gonna be doing is wiping this thing down with a little bit of nail polish remover, just to get some of the oils or whatever that I may have just put on there, and dirt, debris, whatever might be on there, and wipe it off, and then hit it with the primer, and then the flame-proof stuff. And this will be the first time I actually use a primer too. I used to never even use it. I just spray it on, but I do like 4 or 5 freaking coats. So I don't know, maybe I'll do the same amount of coats, but this time we're going to try it with the primer and see how much better it even holds up. All right, let's get into it.
I don't give a fuck about a motherfucking hoe. I'ma pull up with that stick and hit your motherfucking throat.
Alrighty, well there you have it. First coat of the primer's on. If you guys want to make this a lot easier for yourselves, you can always hang this, you know, probably from that hanger. Make it easiest. That way that guy's not moving up and down like that and scratching whatever you just coated. It does say you're also supposed to use like 320 grit or something like that, sand it a little bit, but I didn't. I used to never even use a primer and just use, you know, the ceramic coating, this stuff, and it hold up perfectly fine. The only part that I feel probably will get banged up the most is where the curvature is, right there where the dirt from the front tire will be hitting rocks and whatnot. So yeah, move on to making this sucker nice and black. It'll be super. I think it's gonna look super nice on the bike, so pretty stoked, excited, and see how this turns out. So there's the first coating of the black. As you saw, I was trying to find kind of a way to prop it up. I tried, you know, putting it on the nail polish remover bottle, but that didn't work out. But I forgot how quick this stuff dries. It says only 10 minutes, but as you can see, like, this thing's almost dry looking as it is. So you're gonna have to go ahead and give it some time, let it do its thing, and then hit this up probably another, I don't know, probably gonna do another 2. So go ahead and I'll show you guys how many coats I end up doing. So boom, we got this sucker mounted. See how much better it looks already? So yeah, it turned out pretty good. We did 4 coats. You do have to cure this. I mean, to do it the right way, you'd want to do it in an oven, but we're just gonna have to do it with turning on the bike on. We still got a brake in this motor anyway, so When I turn it on and let it go through a heat cycle or something, that'll be like its first one, and then the second one I go putt around with it or whatever will be the second one or so. So what I did find out after, since this is the first time putting on back the exhaust, I had managed to get this thing to fit using the 2 back bolts back here previously with the other head. So I tightened this up semi tightly on the front, and see, because that's important, that's like the most important part of, you know, the exhaust is the seating surface there. Make sure that it's completely sealed on the cylinder head. And so now I either have to choose between one bolt or the other. Let me see, as you can see on this back one, I gotta bend it up a good amount in order to get that sucker in there. So I'm just gonna make this hole bigger, and even this one. See, I can't even twist it off, and it's like barely even on there. And that's because even on this one I had to push up on the exhaust quite a bit, so gonna have to elongate the holes on both of those to get this to sit nice and flushly seated without it putting pressure on those studs on the cylinder head, and then we'll be golden. So yeah, gonna go ahead and put those or not put those, but make those holes bigger. Boom, there it is. So got it all mounted up and pretty dialed. Barely have to push down on this now in order to get these to line up, whereas before I had to push down pretty darn hard. So wasn't too stoked about that. Now this measured both sides here and here, and they're both perfectly even, so we know the exhaust is being tightened perfectly even up against the head nicely, so hopefully no exhaust gases will be passing through on the sides there. One thing that I don't know if I mentioned was that since this is a stage 2 race head, CGI recommends on the stage 2 and the stage 3 that you do run the big bore rocket exhaust like I am here. I don't know if the inlet right off the bat for this exhaust is bigger than the stock one or bigger than any other one. Would have been curious to measure that and see, but I don't have my old Pro Circuit or my stock one to measure and compare, so I won't know. But they do, I don't know if they recommend, CGI recommends that because for that reason, because it is bigger right off the inlet. Because I know for a fact CJR does make this, the outlet for this exhaust port bigger, so I don't know if that's the reason being. I would assume so, but not 100% sure. So yeah, one thing I didn't want to mention about this is see if anybody else has had this issue with Rocket's quality. I don't know if it's coming through, but freaking, you can see that they didn't kind of remove that material around the cone perfectly. You can still even see the Sharpie marks right there. You think for the money you're paying you'd get a little better quality and craftsmanship there, but oh well, it's all good. Exhaust still looks sick. But anyways, yeah, that's about it right there. So gonna get the Aracer programmed on this thing, plug in the sensor in there, and get this thing fired up and start breaking her in. Cheers. Okay, so last portion of this video to wrap this up and upload this sucker. Wanted to show you guys what I ended up doing with the tail section, how to rearrange all that stuff, because obviously we had all that Aracer stuff to try to cram underneath there, and then the reservoir on top of that, so that was a freaking mess. And I did start this sucker and, you know, kind of let it break in, do its thing, and I may have over exceeded how long I was supposed to keep it on. There's like instructions on like how to bake it and stuff and have this cure, and clearly I went over the freaking temperatures. So I'll probably just clean this up, make a nice straight line or something out of this, and get all this crap off of there. Maybe I'll respray it. I don't know. Don't really care. That portion's gonna get all banged up by rocks anyway, so it's probably gonna look like that in no time. But check out the rest of the exhaust, eh? Looks good. Hopefully it stays like that. Oh yeah, and then on to the routing of this sucker. So there, big ol' obvious freaking sensor. Put a little zip tie on here just so it's not flapping around all over the place, and then up onto like this portion of the frame under here, and then routed it through here. Kind of wanted an easy way to take this off for when I'm not tuning it, but then I started thinking, I was like, man, maybe I'll just like undo this portion here, and then I can route the sensor, put the cap on it, and then kind of like tuck it in here or something. I don't know. I've still yet to decide on what I'm gonna do there. And yeah, as you can see, here's underneath the seat. And if you can recall how I used to have it, it was that this reservoir was literally sitting right here in the middle, and I kind of had it zip tied to this portion of the frame. And so now we got it here. Now we've got, I don't know what this is. I think it's a rectifier. I'm not really sure. So we got what I'm calling the rectifier there. And then now this, I use like the industrial double-sided sticky tape stuff. Or no, Velcro, not double-sided sticky tape, but Velcro, so I can just pop this off and put it back on, but if I need to. But anyways, yeah, we got these suckers on there. They're not gonna go anywhere, as you could tell. And then pretty much everything else I kind of like snuck up under there. And super solid, steady. Nothing's freaking gonna go anywhere. I did the the little test that I did when I first put the Alka-Shock on here and found where I needed to do some trimming. Let's see if I can get it without pushing the bike over to me. As you can see here, whatever, nothing's binding up. I already stood on the bike a good amount and jumped up and down, couldn't see or feel anything moving around that's getting smacked by it. So the real test will be when I bottom it out. For the first time, I'll have to take off the seat and then look underneath there, see if anything's moved around or has new shiny mark from the rear shock hitting it. Oh, here, check this out. So the crankcase breather ended up having some old fuel line, and replaced it with some of that stuff and make it look red. Pretty cool. Tucked it under here. That was like when the dirt's coming this way, because I was gonna put it like somewhere right here, easily accessible. But then, you know, I started thinking, and I was like, dude, this stuff's gonna get showered in like dirt, especially if I ever ride in, you know, like that fine dirt or whatever, or if I'm behind someone for a while. This thing's one side's just gonna keep getting banged up by dirt and possibly clog up one side or whatever. So that this thing stays as clean as possible for as long as possible. If I face it this way, you know, the dirt's just gonna be kind of hitting it this way. I don't know, that was my logic behind it, and that's why I stuck it there, so I'm sticking to it. And then as far as everything else goes, like this stuff, oh, what was this, a fast solenoid? Or the fast idle solenoid that doesn't get used on that throttle body. Just put here, and then put some zip ties up in that BZ so I can hold the wiring loom up and over the filter. Yeah. Oh, and because of the skid plate from BBR, we can't use the cover. Where's that sucker for that for the sensor? But whatever, not too bad. Now that the skid plates are, I mean, you'll have to hit this like kind of, not that I'm not saying it's not impossible, but you have to hit this kind of perfectly in order to smack that sucker off. I don't know, maybe I can probably even modify this. I bet you, just like, I can probably, yeah, why not? I'm gonna do that too. So I'm gonna end up cutting a good portion of this off. Boom, like right here. That way we still have some sort of protection in case, you know, stick or something, we run into the bushes, I don't know. So that way it doesn't smack this on there, because it is kind of vulnerable area. But other than that, I mean, yeah, this thing's pretty much dialed now. I think the only thing that I'm gonna do now is, or as far as today goes, is I'm probably gonna chop up the bars. So I have a set over here that are from the XR50. I don't know if that's even showing up crystal clear or not, but these are the XR50s, and these and the 110 ones. See if it'll show up. Well, if it doesn't, these are the 110 ones. They're a different length, and these are regular dirt bike length bars right here, so these are definitely on the wider side. Told myself I was gonna ride it just to see how it was, and now that I've ridden it, it's definitely on the squirrely side, so we're gonna cut the bars down and make them a little more comfortable, because yeah, like I said, I'm pretty wide and kind of squirrely. So yeah, gonna do that and break her in, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, boys. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Later. Stay fresh.